Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to the Fighting Spinal here on the Edge of Philly Sports with your boy, Matty B, with the late night call yet again as the West Coast trip has ended, and it was a success. The Phillies, in a much surprise character come from behind win tonight over the Los Angeles Angels, 7-5. Some unsung heroes that we're going to talk about, some people that have had their struggles earlier this season that came up in a huge way tonight for the Phillies as they were able to fight their way back after once again taking the lead early. Matter of fact, most of this game kind of followed the same script as last night. But then the Phillies, after coughing up the lead, were able to get it back, tie it up, whatever. And then some late inning heroics and maybe some questionable pitching decisions by Ron Washington of the Angels, whatever. But the Phillies tonight, 7-5 winners over those Angels, wrapping up. Actually, they have one more game left on the West Coast trip. I'm getting ahead of myself. I know they wrapped up something. That was the month of April. A very interesting month of April. 19-9. The Phillies will finish the month of April this year. That's absolutely amazing. So a lot to get into tonight. Before we get started, I want to thank the sponsors real quick. Dolan's, the Streetlight Kitchen and Bar, Philly Sports Trips, Cherry Injury Law, and Sherry's Tickets as well. So let's answer some comments before we jump right into some of the X's and O's. Jameson says, "What a game! Someone needs to find the cat." Yeah, Jameson, was a weird night around baseball tonight, right? We had a cat in Anaheim, we had bees in Arizona, and it was one of them strange nights. So someone needs to find that cat. Absolutely. Jameson says first 20 win in baseball this year. Yeah, 20-11 on the season. As I said, they finished the month of April 19-9. Far cry better than the 15-13 they finished April with last year. But I'm going to get into my April who's and what's it's here in a little bit. Star Wars says Rojas saved us. Yeah, he came up clutch. Clutch. Maybe a benefactor, if I said, maybe a questionable pitching decision by Ron Washington to go with his ace, not only on a second night, but try to get the 4-out save. So whatever, we were benefactors of that. So I'm not going to sit here and tell you it's an asterisk win because of some bad decisions by the manager, but Rojas did come up clutch. And yeah, the other one was, of course, Nick Castellanos with the big time tying home run there. Setting up the heroics for Castellanos. If we win tomorrow and the Braves lose, we'll be in first place. Now, Jameson, you say LAMNO, but it is LMAO. I'm not really good with these little things that the kids use, but again, we're gonna get into depth here about all these early season successes that this team is having right now. But I get your tongue in cheek there. Steve says let's Matty money. That's right. Maxie has Mayfair balls. He does. Maxie was definitely the maybe there's something in the air tonight. Sixers were able to battle back and force a game 6, and the Phillies were able to battle back and win this thing. But and it took some ballsy effort tonight by certain players to get that done. So Phillies 7-5 winners, thus finishing the month of April on a positive note. Let's head over to the box score right now, and let's kind of cut this thing up a little bit. The Phillies on the night would finish with 7 runs on 11 hits and an error. The Angels with 5 runs, 9 hits, and no errors. The Phillies' error tonight was by Trey Turner, his, I think, 4th of the year, 21st of the Phillies season so far. Through 31 games, 21 errors. So if you're doing the fuzzy math at home, that's only 10 games a season the Phillies have played, and they have not committed an error. That is something that needs to be cleaned up. It needs to be cleaned up. If we're going to try to take some real kind of stats or real type of stuff from April, that's one of the things that they need to take, and they need to figure it out, because we cannot continue on that type of pace. I mean, they're going to commit 151 errors on the season, and that just can't happen. That really can't. So yeah, that's not a good thing. But on the offensive side, Kyle Schwarber continues his somewhat erratic. He did have the big home run there, the 3-run shot in the second inning that gave the Phillies the early lead. But he also struck out 2 more times tonight. Finished the night 1 for 5. I'm not on the same side as a lot of people comes with Kyle Schwarber. I think the bad with him outweighs the good. I really do. I don't care. I don't care. I actually kind of think Kyle Schwarber is a mockery to the sport of baseball. That really is. He's not a hitter. He's a swinger. And to be honest with you, I just don't like what he represents. Maybe that's my problem. Is I don't like what he represents. He's a mockery. He's a mockery to the sport. But a big 3-run home run to boot for him tonight. But other than that, once again, nothing offensively. Trey Turner kind of got things rolling late in this game at the bat. 2 for 5, had the run scored. He also struck out 2 times tonight. Bryce Harper continues to slide again. 0 for 3, 2 more strikeouts. He did reach base twice by walk, but again, a little bit more concern again about Bryce Harper. Alec Boehm 2 for 5, did have an RBI. JT 1 for 4, a big strikeout in this game that killed a rally late as well. Brandon Marsh 0 for 4 as he continues to struggle again. Nick Castellanos, what can I say? You got to give it to him where it's needed. 3 for 4 tonight, 2 runs. The RBI, the big home run, the big tying home run late, and he only had 1 strikeout. So good for Nick. If there's one player on this team that needed a night like that, it was him. Bryson Stott on the night 1 for 3. Had to score 2 runs, and he reached base on a walk as well. And Johan Rojas 1 for 4 with a run scored, 2 RBIs, the game-winning home run in the 9th inning to put the Phillies up 7-5, his first of the season. Huge night for Johan Rojas. Finishes the month batting .241, a lot better than the .054 he was sporting about a month ago. So positives there for Rojas as he's kind of working his way as a hitter. For the Angels, the big Rengifo had the big night for them, 3 for 4 with a run. He had the home run. Logan O'Hoppe, my boy, 0 for 4 with 2 strikeouts. Not a good night. Tucker, 2 for 4. And Mickey Moniak. That's right, Mickey Moniak. Of course, to recap some of the big news that came out right before this game, Mike Trout with the meniscus tear. Happened last night at some point in the game. He doesn't know when it was, or he doesn't remember it happening, but he was dealing with some knee pain, knee soreness, he called it, at the end of the game. Trainers basically told him kind of, let's give it a night. Let's see how it is in the morning. He woke up apparently and by his own admission couldn't get out of bed this morning. They brought him in. He got it looked at, and it's a meniscus tear. So the bad luck for Mike Trout continues. He's going to miss at least, we're looking at 2-3 months on this thing? It's not a season-ending injury, or it shouldn't be. But with the way the Angels season will probably go, why bring him back? So Trout out again, and it's just really, really bad luck for Mike Trout. And Neto 1 for 4. On the pitching side of things, Spencer Turnbull had himself a very solid but concerning night at the same time. 5 1/3, 4 hits, 2 runs. 1 was earned. He did strike out 6, gave up the home run. 98 pitches through 5 1/3. And the guy who I was informed last night, and by the way, one of our contributors made me known of this, that he was kind of on somewhat of a innings pitch count for the Phillies this year. Did some research on that, and that is a correct statement. But by the report I read, nothing is formal about the pitch count, or the innings count, I should say. But I guess they're kind of bracing themselves for it, and that's the reason why Taijuan Walker has been returned or brought into the rotation, was because Spencer Turnbull, in order to keep his innings down, is going to be maybe sent to the bullpen. But he continues to make a case for not being sent to the bullpen. But 98 pitches through 5 1/3 innings is a little concerning. Marte came in, Junior Marte, and just had a god-awful appearance, a half an inning, 3 hits, 3 runs, 2 of them were earned. Give up the big home run, and then just not a good outing for Marte. Matt Strahm, an inning, and Alvarado, who gets the win, pitched himself an inning of 1 hit, 1 strikeout ball. Jeff Hoffman picks up the save as he closes it down in the 9th for his 2nd save of the season. For the Angels, Tyler Anderson, 6 innings, 5 hits, 3 runs. They were all earned. 2 walks, 6 strikeouts, and 1 homer. To Tyler Anderson's credit, after the 2nd inning, that's all the offense the Phillies could produce. Garcia, Moore, Estevez, who came in the tail end of the 8th, was called in with 2 outs in the 8th by Ron Washington, their closer, pitched last night, by the way, closed the game. Was brought in for a 4-out save, and obviously it was the wrong decision because of what happened in the ninth. But he'll get the loss on this. He lasted a half inning, 3 hits, 3 runs. They were all earned. He walked 0, and he had 2 strikeouts. And Garrett came in and pitched as well. Now, and there you have the Phillies 7-5 winners. Schwarber again would get the scoring going for the Phillies, much like not so much for Schwarber, but Phillies would get things going early as they did last night. This time was in the second inning, a 3-run jack to give the Phillies a 3-0 lead. And then the bats would go silent for the Phillies again, just like last night. Whereas the Angels would kind of dink and dunk their way back into this thing. Neto would homer in the third to make it 3-1. And then the big 3-run jack in the sixth that would that Marte gave up. Ringalfo would homer, knocking in Ward and Drury. 4-3 Angels. Moniak would tack on another run in that sixth inning, knocking in Tucker to make it 5-3. But then the Phillies would try to battle back. In the eighth, Alec Boehm would single in Trey Turner, who had singled and stole second, making it 5-4 Phillies. Then Nick Castellanos with the huge home run in the ninth to tie things up at 5, followed up by the Johan Rojas 2-run shot, scoring Bryson Stott along with it, 7-5 Phillies. Phillies on their way to a 3-run ninth inning to the 7-5 victory and a very, very positive end to their month of April. So there you have the X's and O's from tonight's game. Box score-wise, let's go back into some of these comments. For Rojas saved us. Yes, he did. Rojas saved us. Beautiful swing, beautiful contact. Really, it's good to see that. It's good to see that from him, specifically from him. I mean, the poor guy just couldn't catch a break, got off to a bad start of the season, worked his way out of it a little bit. The offense that he can provide down there, I'm a big fan of. The reason why I didn't want to see him get sent down was because I don't need him to hit 2-run home runs in the ninth. I really shouldn't need him to do that, but it's nice to see that he can do it. And tonight was definitely good to see that. Casty and Rojas saved us. If we win tomorrow, did I do all those? I mean, I'm going back and forth here. Oh my word, what a comeback! Bottom 3, we're 5 for 11. Yeah, a lot better than they were last night. That bottom of the order last night was absolutely non-existent. Tonight they came up in a big way, kind of picked up the top of the lineup, who really kind of suffered. Turnbull was bad. I disagree. I thought Turnbull was pretty good. Again, we're asking him to be a 4. We're asking him to be a 5. You got to be relative here. I like what he provides in that spot. Am I asking him to be my ace? No. Am I asking him to be number 2? No. Number 3? No. I'm asking him to provide some back-end rotation stability, and he has done that so far, especially for a guy that's coming off Tommy John. You know, you got to give the guy a little here. He's a major league pitcher. He's got major league stuff. I don't want him to win 20 games. I want him to do exactly what he's doing. Pitch count needs to go down a little bit. 98 pitches through 5 1/3 innings is a little high. Turnbull did bad out, but not as bad as Christopher or Walker. Turnbull did bad, but not as. Now I disagree, man. I mean, no, I disagree. I thought Turnbull was pretty good tonight. I totally agree. He does not belong in the leadoff. Oh, we're going back to Kyle Schwarber, and then Al says a mockery seems a bit harsh. Really, Al? What would you call it? Al, what would you call what Kyle Schwarber is to the sport of baseball? What is he? Is he a throwback? Is he a baseball player? He's not. He provides you some heroics. He provides you a little bit of highlights, but 1 out of 5 times he doesn't do nothing. To me, it is a mockery. It's an absolute mockery. Not only that, but the fact that he has got the cojones to tell basically the Phillies that he's not going to bat anywhere else in the lineup but lead off. And we talked about this the other night with you, matter of fact, Al, was that how certain players have certain pull within the organization. Now, I don't know what pull Kyle Schwarber has, but apparently it has to be somewhat significant because there's no other rational reason why that guy is leading off. There's no rational reason other than he's probably either begging them not to send him down in the lineup, or he's got some of this man. Maybe Bryce Harper speaking up for him. Maybe Bryce Harper, owner slash GM of the Phillies, is telling the management, nope. Kyle Schwarber is going to lead off. He is a mockery to the game. He is. He's a disgrace. He absolutely is a disgrace to the game of baseball, what he provides. It's a one-trick pony. That's all it is. No one's going to tell me otherwise. Mickey Moniak is one struggling dude. Yeah, but now he's got a shot yet again. If there was a team that Mickey Moniak could prove himself with, it's the Angels, because he's going to get time. Now he's going to get more extended time with Mike Trout going down. So, obviously, was it a bad first overall pick? Yeah, absolutely. Not our problem anymore, but he's going to get an extended shot out there in Anaheim. Go Phils. Absolutely, Todd. That was a wonderful finish to April. Yep, and we're going to get into some more of that here in a minute. Keep the cat around for tomorrow. The cat disappeared in the dugout. They don't know where it went. It ran underneath some sort of ledge or something. It disappeared. Maybe the cat and the bees. Maybe this is the seventh sign tonight, right? The bees going off in Arizona and the cat in Anaheim. Is the end of the world nigh? I mean, do I have to make amends for all my wrongdoings? Because I hope I have a little bit more time to do that, because the list is a little long. It's going to take some time for me to square things up with people if the world's about to end. So let's hope that's not what it was. They try to elevate Marte a little bit, but it appears to be what he is, AAA command with the MLB stuff. Yeah, but don't say that too loud, because Marte is another Big Al's another Junior Marte supporter. Don't upset Al a little bit, because you don't want that wrath coming down on you. Now, Marte, good story last year. Again, I feel the same way about Hoffman too. I'm not saying Hoffman doesn't belong in the bullpen, but not in that situation in the ninth inning. But Marte, yeah, he's up and down, up and down. Don't really know what they're going to do there. Obviously, this bullpen probably still needs some pieces going down the stretch as we get deeper into the season, but it was pretty good. Turnbull is definitely better than Sanchez. Absolutely. I think he is. I think he's more stable than Sanchez. Maybe not better, but more stable. He's got better pitching IQ, maybe. I don't know. Did he say, or did the analytics do the talking? Okay. Yeah. Whatever, Al. Whatever gets you to sleep at night, man. You go to bed on the Homer side of the tracks every single night, praying to the almighty gods, all right? I don't. And I'm going to take a glass half empty. You're going to take the glass half full. I get it, and that makes for great conversation. But I don't know any other way. Analytics. What does analytics say about a guy batting 192? What the hell does that say? What does it say? You're going to provide me a home run every seventh at bat? You're going to provide me a home run every eighth at a bat? I mean, I get it. I get what he provides. He provides a lot of power. I understand that. And he hits 50 home runs. But that's all he does. He's up there hacking wildly. And it's very frustrating. And it hasn't really necessarily come back and bit us on the butt yet. But I'm waiting for that moment. I really am. Bottom line, when the chips are down and Kyle Schwarber's at the plate, I'm panicking. He's not the guy I'm looking at in this lineup when the chips are down to see us through. He's not a hitter. He's a swinger. That's all he is. He's a swinger. And baseball-wise. I don't want to get into the guy's personal life. That's a lot of amends. It is. It'll take me a minute. It'll take me a hot minute to amend all that. All right. Let's head over to the corporate side of things, and let me talk to you for a minute about the Streetlight Kitchen and Bar, one of our proud sponsors of the Fight is Final at 5400 Fern Boulevard in Drexel Hill, PA, at the Holiday Inn and Suites at the Delbrook Event Center. Pre and post game live, post game Fighting Phillies live, right, on May 11th. We're our second one we've done. We did one back on April 7th. We're going to be doing one on May 11th, starting at 2:30. Come out and see the crew in action, and you'll be able to potentially win some Phillies tickets, because we are going to be giving away 2 tickets to the Friday, June 28th Phillies Marlins game. It is a fireworks night game at the bank, so that's really all you really need to know about that too. So kind of a double dip for yourselves and your family. So come on out, see us on May 11th. There's going to be a brunch there. The beautiful little setup they got going on. They got an outside patio area with like a big TV, like a fireplace. I'm sure the fireplace won't be on, but a really cool place to hang out. Come on out, spend the afternoon with us, and you never know who might walk through the door. And then don't forget, if you want to travel like the pros, Phillies Sports Trips, they got you covered. Trips all over the place: Baltimore, Chicago, Fenway, London. That's just to name a few for the Phillies. The Eagles' schedule should be dropping here in about, a couple weeks. That's going to have some trips designed for them. And then, obviously, when they don't do the Flyers, do they? They did the Flyers. Yeah, they might do some Flyers trips. They did the outdoor game, and they did, I think, some other trips. So, as these schedules drop, Philly Sports Trips got you covered. So make sure you're checking out the Philly Sports Trips. So 7-5, big win. Let's now head to the Broad Street bottom line here for me tonight on this late night postgame show. All right, my Broad Street bottom line is not necessarily about this game. It's about the month of April. It is about finishing up the month of April in a really good way. 19-9 for the month. It's a very positive way to finish up the first full month of baseball of the season, but it is the first full month. And yes, it represents a couple different things. Now, I come out on the April side of the coin that I really don't care your record in April. I care about one thing, about 500 or a little bit better and healthy. That's all I want from my baseball team coming out of April. But 19-9 is amazing for a couple reasons. One, if we're following this narrative, trying to win the NL East, obviously we're going to have to play better than 15-13 like they did last April, and they sure as hell going to have to play better than 10-16 like they did last May. So having a month like April gives you some buffer, right? It gives you that, keeps those teams in that spectrum. So, starting off that hot is really positive when you're talking more of like challenging for your division. Also the healthy aspect of it. This team is relatively healthy heading into May. Now, May, of course, another animal. This is where we're really going to see this team. May has been a horrible month for this baseball team over the last 2 seasons. Do the Phillies turn the May corner? The schedule in May, pretty NL East heavy, and we'll maybe get an opportunity to see where this team is a little bit better at the end of May. But it looks like we've already traveled through a whole season in April. We started out at the very lowest of lows coming out of March, and then we've traveled to this point where now everybody is back on board where they should have been in the first place. But this is just it's a snapshot of where things are going to be. It's May or it's April, right? We're going to be going up and down these peaks and valleys for the next 6 months. But it's good that it's really, really good to have a 19-9 April to kind of springboard yourself into the rest of the season, into May, specifically May. I need a good May. But with a 19-9 April, a good May may be the 500 month. That's all I need, right? You have a really good month. You follow that up with a consistent month. And if we can stay out of that of that month, that May that we usually fall into, we should be good because it'll be hitting season. And all you Kyle Schwarber robots out there can bring your fishing nets and your baseball gloves to Citizen Bank Park and wave them around in the air like a fool. Hopefully he connects on a home run every 25 at bats. But that's when we really will get things rolling here is in the summer. But really good May, very positive month of May. And there you have my Broad Street bottom line. So I hope you enjoyed that. Not necessarily centric towards tonight's game, but just overall about the month of May month of April, because it was very positive to see how they finished up the month. So that was your Broad Street bottom line. Let's go field some of these comments. Rojas at bat been great. Rojas at bats, they've been a lot better. Rojas at bats have been a hell of a lot better. You'll have to square up with Howie. Do I have to square up with Howie, or does Howie have to square up with me? Let's call that for what it is, right? Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. Or I could just tell Howie, I'll see you in hell. And why don't we do that? And then we can square things up down there. Justin Crawford getting close to Double-A. I wonder if DD deals. Justin Crawford's in an interesting situation, right? Justin Crawford, man, is tore it up down there in Clearwater last year. Got the midseason call up to that Jersey Shore. Has been tearing it up early on in this season. it's going to be hard to keep him out of Reading. Honestly, it's going to be very hard to keep him out of Reading within the next couple weeks, right? As far as a trade, I don't know, man. Listen, can you ever have too many outfielders, Steve? Can you? And Justin Crawford, he's got the tools right now. Yeah, I mean, he's got a little bit of Don Brown going on, right? He's tearing up the minor leagues, but if there's one player in this organization that I wouldn't trade right now, it's Justin Crawford. I'd say goodbye to Painter before I would say goodbye to Crawford or Miller. I wouldn't trade neither one of those two. I just have a feeling that, I'd rather have, especially when it comes to center fielders. I mean, if we can find ourselves that center fielder, that guy, a Ronald Acuna type of outfielder out there, wouldn't that be great? I'm not comping Justin Crawford to Acuna at this point, but he sure as hell has been playing like that in the minor leagues. And I think the Phillies would be doing Justin Crawford a disservice by not elevating him to Reading very soon, just to kind of see where they're at with him. Let him telling you to elevate him to AAA in August. Let him sit in Reading for the rest of the year. If he tears the ball off of Reading, if you send him to Reading in May, he tears the cover off the ball all season long. Then he starts next season off with AAA in Lehigh, and then maybe by the end of 25, we're talking serious about Justin Crawford being a Philly. And I'm okay with that. I really am. I'm absolutely okay with that. I would love to have an outfield consisting of Johan Rojas and Justin Crawford. Would there be any balls hit in space in that outfield? Probably not, right? So it's a good problem for the Phillies to have. He's a hell of a prospect, a good player. I'm going to catch some games from him this year. I wanted, obviously I'm not going to travel to Clearwater and watch him play, but now that he's in Jersey and potentially going to Reading soon, definitely is on my list to go check him out and play. I'm for him as long as we get Sure. Yeah, it's true. Yeah, they do. And then, of course, if you want to see what's going on this year there, Steve, and everybody else out there, EOP will be covering the 2024 MLB draft. Yours truly will be spearheading that. We've been dropping articles throughout the last few weeks. I believe there was an article dropped today. That was our 14th or 15th. We're covering the top 32 prospects coming out in this year's draft. The Phillies are picking at 27 this year. They have 17 total picks in the draft. We are going to cover the first round, and the first round only, because I don't have that type of stamina to cover about 15, 16 rounds or 27 rounds, 17, 18 rounds. I don't have that. So we're going to cover the first round on Sunday, July the 14th, during the All-Star break. It's going to be held down in Arlington. We're going to cover that draft for you, and it's going to be interesting to see where the Phillies go. I have a few players in mind who I think they should take. You have to wait and see as the articles come out who that player is. Again, we're at 14. We dropped 14 today. So the Phillies are picking at 27. So stay tuned for that, but just put that on your calendar. We will be covering the MLB draft, at least for round 1 in 2024. All right, let's head over down. Let's do some rounding the bases. Let's check the happenings around Major League Baseball on this Tuesday night here on the Fighting's Final. All right. So let's talk about some of the games. There's actually some games that are still happening. Of course, we all know the drama down in Arizona. That game is actually still ongoing. They're in the top of the 6th. It is 1-1, Dodgers and Diamondbacks, as they battle through the Bs, and they are on to playing some baseball. The rest of these games have gone final. 2-1 Cardinals over the Tigers, 4-2 Orioles over the Yankees, 7-6 Marlins over the Rocks, 11-6 Tigers over the Cardinals, 4-1 Royals over the Blue Jays. That was a doubleheader, by the way. I missed that. So it was a doubleheader between the Cardinals and the Tigers. First game was 2-1 Cardinals over the Tigers. Second game was 11-6 Tigers over Cardinals. 4-1 Royals over the Blue Jays. 4-2 Mets over the Cubs. 4-0 Red Sox over the Giants. 6-5 Twins over the Red Sox. Brewers 8-2 over the Rays. Rangers 7-1 winners over the Nationals. The Guardians 10-9 winners over the Astros, or the Astros 10-9 winners over the Guardians in 10 innings. 3-2 Mariners over the Braves. And yes, we're closing in on first place. 6-4 Padres over the Reds. And the Athletics, or the A's, beat the Pirates 5-2. And there you have it. There's the scores around Major League Baseball on this Tuesday evening or this Wednesday morning. I don't know where you're listening. Well, it could be still Tuesday night where you're listening to me, but where I am, it's Wednesday morning. Steve says 5 of our last 6 first rounders look solid. That's how you stay contenders. I'm not. If you're grouping in, what are you grouping in Abel to that list? I don't know about Mick Abel. I don't really know about that, Steve. I'm getting a little concerned about Mick Abel. 5 years now in the minor leagues, and he's struggling in Lehigh so far to start the season. Solid is not what I would call him. I don't really know where we stand on Mick Abel, so I'll give you the others. But the Abel thing kind of brings that thing down a little bit for me. And then there's Steve saying maybe Abel figures it out. I don't know if he does. 5 years now, toiling in the minor leagues. Star Wars says Rob Thompson has bad decisions. He does, absolutely. Rob Thompson has bad decisions all the time. And tonight, at least his bad decisions tonight, which I don't really know if there was any real bad decisions tonight. Marte, you could kind of question that a little bit. Was he the best player to bring in that situation? I would have probably gone with Hoffman, actually, in that situation myself. Because, again, I don't believe in Hoffman as my late inning guy. But I definitely would have brought Hoffman in. Or potentially Christopher Sanchez, if, that works itself out into that situation where he is in the bullpen. He's a prime candidate for that type of appearance if the Phillies go that route. Again, Spencer Turnbull apparently is on some alleged innings restriction this year. They're trying to potentially save his arm from coming back from Tommy John. Now, nothing official about that, but the player has acknowledged that there is talk of that. But that's some of the speculation around why Taijuan Walker has been brought back into the rotation. I don't really know if you got to speculate about that. Taijuan Walker's on a contract for 3 years, being paid like $18 million a year to do it, or $18 million over that time, whatever it is. So Taijuan Walker coming back to the rotation was more of a when than if for me, even though he obviously all those problems that he had in September last year and then into the postseason as well. But Spencer Turnbull potentially could find his way into the bullpen, and that would be actually a pretty good situation for a Spencer Turnbull to be put in a 6th inning type, the starter, whatever, comes in the 5th inning. That's a perfect situation for a Turnbull type pitcher or a Sanchez type pitcher, a converted starter type guy. Obviously, Marte wasn't the right guy there. And he hasn't really been the right guy, like 50-50 maybe with Marte. He has like stretches of good performances and then about 4 or 5 clunkers in a row. But the Phillies were able to survive that tonight. They had some massive heart. I was falling asleep watching this thing. This thing was boring. This game was boring. And I don't know what it is about Anaheim, about that stadium. Why does it look so dark? Like, what's going on? Do they not pay their bills out there? It looks like the lights aren't even on. And it's that, like, in-between look to it. And it just kind of, like, lulls you to sleep, especially the way the Phillies were playing offensively. And, the Phillies showed a lot of character tonight, a lot of character. They battled back. They weren't going to let the game go without, fighting their way back into it. And, what can you say about Nick Castellanos? What can you say about him? I mean, there was a guy that needed a game like this. It was him. And then Yohan Rojas continues to kind of try to find his identity as a baseball player. Tonight will go a long way in that. Huge, huge win for the Phillies tonight. As tomorrow they will look for the series win and hopefully start the month of May off in the right way. Steve says, looks like we dodged the 6-0 Sanchez bullet. Yeah, Phillies won that trade. Me and Al were talking about that not too long ago. Phillies need to be better with. Yeah, they do. Listen. Star Wars. Here's a couple of things, and I'm glad you brought that up because I'm a guy who likes to keep stats. Now, I haven't added the stats in from tonight, but heading into tonight, the Phillies were batting 66 for 235 with runners in scoring position. That's a 280 batting average. Star Wars. Sorry. I don't ever remember the Phillies ever batting 280 with runners in scoring position over the last 3 or 4 years. All right. Not at all. Last season, they finished out like 264, and that was because of some late game scrubby time against the Mets and teams like that kind of cashed it in. They're batting 280 heading into this game with runners in scoring position. That's a hell of a lot better than I thought they were going to be. I believe last April, I think they were batting like 215 with runners in scoring position. So I will take that as a positive. They're still leaving way too many runners on base, and I'll give you that. But they are demonstrating at least a little bit in April, a willingness to play contact small ball. You saw it kind of tonight, Turner gets the single, stretches that into essentially a double with the stolen base, puts himself in a position to get knocked in on a single by Alec Bohm. Alec Bohm, I think, has been one of those players who has adjusted his approach at batting, and that's why he's so successful early going. He doesn't look like he's trying to swing for the fences, and I think that's what you're seeing, some of the byproduct of his hot start. He's making contact with the ball. That's all he wants to do. Now, unfortunately, there's other batters in this lineup that predicate themselves on power. Nick Castellanos is one of them. If maybe there's an approach issue with him, and maybe he's now getting it, I don't know. But Kyle Schwarber, he ain't trying to hit for contact. He's trying to hit for power. Bryce Harper really is trying to hit for power. I mean, if these guys would mentally and mechanically adjust their approaches, perhaps maybe they would get more at-bats or more hits, more singles. Now, Schwarber, to his credit, just recently kind of sunk back into this, the Kyle Schwarber effect. Really had a hot start. But when you're out there, when you're up at the plate trying to do one thing, it doesn't take long for a pitcher to realize that, and they're going to give you stuff that you can't do that one thing for. And if you can't adjust to what the pitcher's doing to you, you're going to strike out, or you're going to weakly ground out or pop up. So I'll disagree with what you're saying to an extent. I see more positive steps in the Phillies hitting approach than I did at the end of the season, and I certainly did at the beginning of the season. They're starting to that whatever they did work on down in the spring training, because I know there's been some reports that the team was sick. Half of them were sick most of the time, but I'm seeing some evidence of whatever that was now, and towards the back end of this month. So I'm gonna push back on that. That they need to hit better. They're always going to need to hit better. We lead the MLB in home runs. We do, absolutely. We lead the. We do. That's what I'm trying to tell you. There's a cost to that, and that cost sometimes is leaving a lot of runners on base. That cost is right now heading into this game tonight. The Phillies have left 201 runners on base. That's almost 7 a game. That's the cost for leading the league in home runs, because you're up there trying to tomahawk everything, right? But they're somehow finding a way to blend it a little bit better, because they're batting 280 with runners in scoring position. You cannot deny that. There's a difference there. There's a change in philosophy just by that number right there. And then again, they were batting like 215 with runners in scoring position at this time last year. They batted 214 or 216 in the postseason with runners in scoring position. They finished out at 264 last year with runners in scoring position. There's a change there, and I see it. I see it in the numbers. Tobias Harris, man. Listen, Steve, I've gone on the record by saying I'm okay with my station in life. I am. I'm the yin to the homer's yang. All right, that's what I am. I'm the guy that keeps the homers in check, and that's fine. I'll carry that cross, man. I will. That's what I do. I'm the great reality check. Debbie Downer, whatever. But I'm going to keep everybody grounded. I'm trying to, at least. But yeah, it's fun. All right, so Phillies win 7-5. Tomorrow they will go for the series win. Again, hopefully they'll start off the month of May with the win. Mike Laro's got you tomorrow, as I am done. I am off duty. Late night West Coast games suck. But as I said last night, this is my reward for going on vacation last week. So Mike Laro will have you tomorrow. Then we got a day off, and then on Friday night, the Phillies will start a 4-game set. One of them rare Friday through Monday 4-game series with the San Francisco Giants here at the bank. I will be actually, let me put that up there, because we do have that as well. Here's your lineup for the weekend. I got you covered for Friday, because everybody else at EOP is going to be at the game. That's right. That's what they do to me. You know, they let me go on vacation. Then they put me on the late night West Coast games. Then when everybody goes to a baseball game, I have to cover it. So I can't go. So that, again, don't ever, if you ever work with EOP and they say, hey, go on vacation, take some time off, recharge your batteries. Don't believe it, man. Don't do it, because you're going to get blackballed when you come back. Again, took one lousy week off to go to Florida, and they stick me on the Angel games at night, and they don't let me go to the baseball game on May 3rd. So anyway, you guys know I'm just joking. But here's our lineup this weekend. I got you Friday. Al will get you on Saturday. I'm back on Sunday, and Sal has you on Monday, as we will get the homestand, little mini homestand kicked off here next week, or into the weekend, into next week. But yes, I am tired of the opposite punch and Judy act. Yeah, I agree. Thank you, Steve. Thank you for being one of my supporters, man. I appreciate that. I really do. Truly, truly do. All right, everybody, that's going to wrap me up. It's been a pleasure, honor, and a privilege. Phillies with the big win tonight, 7-5. Wrap up a very, very, very successful month of April, 19-9, as they will now kind of focus, hopefully, on a consistent May, as we'll get that started tomorrow. Once upon a time, it was Matty every day with Phillies final on the clear of the ice. Listen, Steve, I do not. I remember those days very vividly. Yeah, I remember those days very vividly. It's been a great, listen, what we've done with this show and what we've done with Clear the Ice, I would not go back to those days in a heartbeat, because we are such a more refined product now. Having other people to work with and having collective minds to discuss things with. Believe it or not, I'm actually a very creative person who actually bounces a lot of ideas off people, and people bounce ideas off me, and I actually answer them like a human being, not some like irrational dictator. But yeah, no, the crew that I've worked with here with the Fight and Final and Clear the Ice, Pat, Mike, Al, Sal here with the Fight and Final. It's a great thing to see what I did start, but now it has kind of like grown out of my control, and that's what you want. You don't want to be like, you don't want to stay in a box, right? You want to blow that box out, and you want to get it bigger and better. And what's happened to the Fight and Final over the last 3 years, this is beyond my wildest expectations. And same thing with Clear the Ice. So, but I appreciate it, Steve. But you're right. I don't know. I don't get any time served. I don't get any off for good behavior. None of that. It's just like it never happened, and we just move on. But no, it's been fun. But yeah. So tomorrow, Michael Arrow will have you. It is a 4:00 start here in Philly, so the game will be over around 7. Be ready for Mike around then, and then we'll have the day off Thursday, and then I got you back on Friday night as the Phillies will battle the Giants here at Citizen Bank Park. Do I have anything else I got to do? Remember our fine sponsors. I don't think I even talked about Mr. Cherry, and I will do it right now. If you got some workman's compensation, motor vehicle accident issues, personal injury, or criminal law, call Dave Cherry at 610-565-0300 at www.cherryinjurylaw.com, and he will answer all those questions and more. And then if you're looking for the best and the greatest prices with no hidden fees on sports, concerts, or theater tickets, look no further than Sherry's Ticket Town at www.sherrystickets.com. Family owned and operated since 1946. Save an additional 10% when you enter the promo code EOP10, and you won't be sorry, and you certainly won't be sorry if you head down to Dolan's at 24 East Sellers Ave in Ridley Park, Pennsylvania, on Saturday, May 25th for Dolan's Wiffle Ball Mania, their spring classic featuring John Kruk and Mickey Morandini. Maybe somebody can ask John to clarify more on the boyfriend and the girlfriend being burned alive in the car by the catcher that he was playing in the game with the other night when he was in winter ball, and he was telling that story the other night. Somebody can go down and clarify that story with him, maybe get a little bit more in depth about that thing, because that blew my mind when I heard it. But him and Mickey Morandini will be down there at Dolan's for Wiffle Ball Mania on May 25th. Make sure you're heading that way. And then one more time, the Streetlight Kitchen and Bar, 5400 Fern Boulevard in Drexel Hill, for the Fight and Final pre- and post-game show on May the 11th At 2:30 it starts. Bring mom. It's the day before Mother's Day. Bring mom, bring the wife, bring the girlfriend, and have brunch, have a drink, sit down, relax, listen to some great Philadelphia Philly content from some great people for both pre and post. Stay for the pregame, or come for the pregame, stay for the game, hang out for the postgame. So hope to see everybody there at the Streetlight Kitchen and Bar, 5400 Fern Boulevard on Saturday, May the 11th. All right, everybody, that's going to wrap me up. It's been a great night. Phillies win 7-5. Great month of April, 19-9 for the month, 20-11, as somebody said earlier in the chat, first 20-win baseball team this season. So that's good to see. We will talk tomorrow. Mike Lauro has you for the series finale against the Angels. I will see you again on Friday night. Till we talk again, go Phils. Take